everybody except for the MAGA voters explicitly understands that Taco Tits and his cabal of beta males cheat. They cheat on everything. They never want to win on their own merit. And so Taco Tits has this huge bench that he can lean into to pluck a beta male to do diabolical shit against our democracy. So he immediately calls Governor Abbott of Texas, who is a complete sycophant, beta male, hypocrite Christian of the highest order.
That incredible commentary came from Jennifer Welch of the I've Had It podcast, and I think that she is one of the few individuals leading the way in roasting the ever-loving shit out of Donald Trump and his pathetic supporters. And aside from South Park and the way that they've ruthlessly torn into Trump and his cronies like Kristi Noem, I don't think anybody does it better. And what you can tell from this hilariously scathing commentary that's becoming increasingly more common is that the fuck your feelings crowd gets all up in their feelings the second you give them a taste of their own medicine by bullying them back. This is something that we all need to pay attention to because it works. And after nearly a decade of dealing with this unhinged cult, most people are now starting to understand that there is value in standing up to these bullies, because we are talking about deeply insecure, stupid people who think that the world revolves around them. So if you attack their deepest insecurities, you'll see them melt like the snowflakes that they are. It goes back to that weird attack that Democrats temporarily ran with last year that completely threw them off their games because they couldn't handle the fact that the entire country thought that they were weird and they were being laughed at. Like, they wanted to be in on the joke, but they were the butt of the joke, and that fact ate them up. It's not the kind of politics that most of us wanted, since we're all adults here, but when you are dealing with a movement of emotionally stunted adults who never mentally matured, you kind of have to match their energy and crush their spirits any way you can if you want to break through. But only a few have truly mastered the art of bullying back MAGA as well as Jennifer Welch has. And I say this because she recently went on a rant on her podcast about Trump supporters that was so goddamn ruthless, it actually got picked up by conservatives around the world, including Sky News. But of course, Fox News covered it too. So I want to play her viral rant for you and then show you the hilarious reaction from Fox News to her rant. You're not going to want to miss this. But first, let's hear what she had to say.
I went to a Mexican restaurant with my parents, my son, my husband over the weekend. And there's just all these MAGA-looking people in there. And I thought, you've got a lot of fucking nerve coming in here. Coming into this Mexican restaurant where every single waiter, obviously English was their second language, served with a smile. They run a great little local business, and Oklahoma City is a better place because of these hardworking immigrants that come in here. To see these fat ass, pink arm, teeny weeny, beta pricks with their ugly ass wives walk into this Mexican restaurant and sit down and smile and be friendly, I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, but do not participate in any of the shit that makes America cool. And what makes America cool is multiculturalism. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people, as you've been doing for 400 years, and you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit, when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Cankles McTaco Tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
God damn, that was brutal, but very much warranted. And I won't lie, I kind of feel like she was describing some of my MAGA family members, but I can assure you I'm not mad, Jennifer, because everything you said was spot on, and we all know people like the individuals that she was describing. It's not just that these people are deeply hateful and racist, which would be bad in and of itself. It's that they're the most insufferable, obnoxious people to be around, period. Before I even knew that one of my siblings was a Trump supporter, being in their presence was agonizing. because they somehow deluded themselves into thinking that they were charming and funny and insightful. And because of their undeserved confidence, they inserted themselves into conversations and invited themselves to every event and, shared their expertise about everything because, of course, they know fucking everything, and they never picked up on the cues that people didn't really like what they had to say. They didn't see that they were making us uncomfortable. And of course, they don't feel bad for the chaos that they just unleashed on the country by voting for Donald Trump, because they're too stupid to ever admit that they're wrong about anything, because they literally don't have the mental capability of being introspective. So that's how they kind of go on with their lives, eating at Mexican restaurants and trying to socialize with their queer family members as if they didn't just vote to fuck them over, because to them, they are the center of the universe. And they simply don't think about the way that their actions affect other people, because they're fundamentally selfish people. They only think about themselves exclusively, because all that they want is attention, and they will do and say whatever they can to get our attention. But since they're too stupid and too cringe to get our attention by just being normal people, they put on their clown noses and do their best to get us to notice them by annoying us or nagging us to death. For example, this large pro-Trump Twitter account shared an AI image of Sydney Sweeney as Snow White, claiming that liberal women are losing their minds over this clip of Sydney Sweeney, which isn't true. Nobody gives a shit at all. But they kept on trying, because Gunther Eagleman, a massive MAGA account on Twitter, claimed that this Sydney Sweeney ad was a liberal trigger. But when journalist Yashar Ali let him know that this ad came out back in June and nobody gave a shit, he simply responded with "cry more," which isn't a surprising response, because again, we are dealing with semi-literate baboon brain dumb fucks who refuse to believe that nobody finds them interesting or entertaining. So much like Jennifer Welch, I fucking hate these people, and I'm tired of pretending like I don't. MAGA is a modern day Nazi movement for all intents and purposes, and these people are destroying this country. So we need to start treating them like the social pariahs that they are. Let them throw their tantrums, let them cry like the babies that they are, deny them the thing that they crave the most, which is our attention. That's not going to defeat them, but it will demoralize them, and we need the opposition to be as weak as possible if we ever want a chance to save this country from these fascist fuckwads. So Jennifer Welch expressed how I'm feeling to a T, and that's why I think it went so viral, not just because it triggered conservatives, because it resonated with everyone else who's been dealing with these motherfuckers. And it seemed like what she said hit a nerve in MAGA world, because that rant came across the radar of, everyone from Fox News propagandists to Sky News. And as you're going to see from their commentary, they were visibly butthurt, but they're too stupid to come up with some sort of a clever response. So they just kind of mauled it on television. Take a look.
Ohio has Cracker Barrels. We actually look forward to eating
them. They're the best.
The cheese in the middle of the table. Oh, God. Delectable.
How about the peg game? Just the peg game alone.
The peg game itself was another winner.
Cracker Barrel is a national treasure. Yeah. And you know who knows that? Every ethnic group in this country. It is not a predominant white restaurant. It's black people, it's Latino people, Asian people, it's Muslim people. Everybody likes Cracker Barrel. Who doesn't want chicken and dumplings on the side of a highway? Okay, it's spiritual nourishment. And when she goes out and makes this other argument that MAGA voters shouldn't be anywhere near Mexican or Chinese restaurants. First of all, yes, Wardrobe wants me to stay out of Mexican and Chinese restaurants. I concede that, but it's not because of my politics. It's so lazy to make the assumption that only white people voted MAGA. There was a 44-point swing with Latinos to Trump, legal migrants. Obviously, his black male support was higher than any Republican since Gerald Ford. So what she's really saying is, I don't talk to anybody that's not in my elite circle. Right. Lazy.
Kennedy, one last word from you. I mean, I love Honky Barrel. It is one of my favorite restaurants. Now, I looked at this woman, I was like, she looked like the nun out of Habit. Yeah. The horror movie. Yes. So this is such an offensive straw man, and it just goes to show you that the loudest people in Hollywood are also the dumbest.
I think it's funny that she's making fun of conservatives for not being attractive.
So much in there.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I couldn't hear you over the Botox
You're
injection.
Needed in hair and makeup.
Can you speak up?
Thank you, Kennedy.
I love how her main point just went completely over their heads, because of course it did. So let me reiterate her point in case any MAGA is watching, and I'll speak more slowly so they can understand it. Her point is that you degenerate, hateful pricks should stick to your own fucking culture, since you voted for a fascist who's trying to eradicate the very people who make our multicultural society what it is. Stop being hypocrites, be consistent, And if you want to live in an all-white society, you shouldn't get to reap the benefits of diversity. Go enjoy your unseasoned chicken and mayonnaise sandwiches and stay the fuck away from the people that you voted to harm. That is her point. And I love how these idiots tried to attack Jennifer's looks by saying, yeah, well, you're unattractive. You've got Botox. And I'm sure that the guy who said that felt especially attacked because she described him in her rant. She talked about MAGA men with big guts, but all he could say was, oh, yeah, well, you have Botox. Got her. Nice try, you incestuous hog. Like, this is all that they could come up with. It's hilarious. But that wasn't the end of it because other Fox News snowflakes decided to weigh in and tell everyone how offended they were as well. And of course, it was exactly like we just watched, but like they worded it differently, basically.
Get your fat over to Cracker Barrel.
She seems pleasant, very enjoyable.
Right. It makes me.
I'd like to work for her.
That's why I never watch Bravo. But I mean,
okay.
Wrap our head around that because you want to have this country all equal. I don't care what color skin you. Everybody's equal. No special advantages for anybody. That means you can't go to get Chinese food. I mean, I've never heard of this.
I
actually like Cracker Barrel.
I love it.
I would recommend the Grandma's Breakfast.
But she just categorized that as only Republicans go to Cracker Barrel.
I like it with an extra side of eggs to go with it. Sometimes the egg is not
I don't think she wants you to go to Cracker Barrel.
Well, no, she was really directing this toward.
She wants him only to go to Cracker Barrel. If he voted for Trump, that's the only restaurant he can eat.
No, but she was, and that's the point of this, is that she wasn't talking about the multicultural revolution that the president was able to build with black voters, especially black males,
Asians,
Latinos, and everything. She's talking about the white voters.
Yeah.
And she doesn't realize it is his appeal to the minorities that won him the election.
Right.
She's just targeting
That's a good point. So does that mean if you are Mexican and you voted for Trump, you can't even eat in a Mexican restaurant?
She's gonna kick them out of their own restaurants now?
What about like a Houlihan's that has Mexican food on the menu? Can you go in there and then they gotta try to, excuse me, you cannot have the chili. You cannot have the chili.
You can't have the guacamole.
White boy.
Right.
So this is going to be fantastic.
She is very angry.
Very angry.
And I think that's the problem.
I
they got to get past the anger and start thinking logically.
Yeah, I have a friend, and when she deals with this kind of thing, she just looks at him and she goes, I'm going to pray for you. Because it's just too angry. It's like, gosh, come on. Yeah. People can vote for whoever they want to vote for.
Oh, fuck you, lady. People can vote for whoever they want. Right. And people can respond by shunning you if you vote for an insurrectionist, racist rapist who is best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, especially if his policies are making the country objectively worse. And I'm sorry, you don't get to talk about other people being mad after you voted for the guy running on retribution. But this is what I mean. Like, these people have no fucking self-awareness whatsoever. If you're not mad about what's happening, by the way, you're either dumb, immoral, or you're not paying attention, because all normal people around the world, not just here at home, are mad about what's happening, because how could you not be? What's happening is a catastrophe. The human rights abuses are absolutely unforgivable. But to their point about a swing in black and brown voters to Trump, they said that in the last segment too. Like, this isn't the gotcha that they think it is. First of all, rerun the numbers now and see how Trump holds up with these communities. Second of all, the same thing still applies. Like, I can't dictate how black and brown people respond to members of their own community who voted for a fascist, but as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I can tell you how I feel about the MAGA queers that voted for Donald Trump. I think that they should be excommunicated from the community. And I don't speak for everybody in the community, but I'd say that probably most of them agree with that. Like, I don't want to see you at the gay clubs or at Pride or at gay bars. If you voted for a man who's trying to erase our fucking community from existence, fuck you. If you're a gay Trump supporter, like, you need to go be with your people at Turning Point USA, right? Go to their churches, hang out with them there. We don't want you in our spaces because you're a useful fucking tool who voted against your own community, probably because you agreed with mass deportation or you're against trans people. So fuck off, die mad, die alone. We want nothing to do with you. That's how I feel. But getting back to Jennifer, somehow her comments managed to create a sort of reverse Bud Light situation where Trump supporters such as Congressman Greg Steube called on conservatives to pack every table at Cracker Barrel and make it the busiest week they've ever had. And she responded to that by pointing out that conservatives are currently actually supposed to be boycotting Cracker Barrel because of their support for Pride and DEI. And she added, thanks for supporting DEI and the LGBTQ plus community, MAGA. And to that, all I can say is legendary, iconic. She never misses, ever. Now, even though I would declare her the queen of giving MAGA a taste of their own medicine, I've noticed that a lot of other people are doing the same exact thing. Hence why there's been a rise in the ironic use of the term dark woke, that's what the kids are saying these days, that kind of references this increasingly common tactic to be as vicious as you possibly can be to MAGA degenerates, either to get them to fuck off or to just give them a taste of their own medicine and be spiteful. And to be clear, dunking on MAGA dipshits isn't new, but people are finally increasing their vitriol towards these people to proportionally match the vitriol that they've spewed towards us for 10 years now. And as of late, more and more people have managed to hone in on MAGA's insecurities because these people are all extremely easy to read, and that's how you hit a nerve. You pinpoint the insecurity and you attack that, and they melt like snowflakes. For example, we all know that they want to be seen as alpha male tough guys, even though they're weak pussies. So if you treat them like the beta males that they are, you could very easily get under their skin. Case in point, former Hercules actor turned conservative burnout Kevin Sorbo tweeted a video of a gay Vikings cheerleader saying, "I've been a Vikings fan all my life. Sigh. I need a new team now." But as people quickly pointed out, Kevin Sorbo literally looks exactly like the guy he's calling gay. And people also pointed out the flamboyant dance moves that he did in a scene for Hercules, limp wrist and all, mind you. So this Hollywood actor quickly learned that he's not more manly than the cheerleader that he's shitting on, even by his own fucking standards. People also pointed out his gay kiss in Meet the Spartans, which bought him a one-way ticket to hell. Sorry, Kevin, like God's not gonna accept I was only acting as a defense. Straight to hell, buddy. Others pointed out that it's a little gay for him to have such strong feelings about some twink that he's never met, which is true. Others called out his insecurities and how he's miserable and possibly closeted for caring so much about this. Other people made fun of him for being a snowflake. And that goes on and on. Now, he wasn't ratioed, but he was getting shit on so hard by so many people that he quickly retweeted his own post, which to me is an indication that he was hoping that his right-wing followers would jump on board to defend him, but no dice. But he's not the only washed-up celebrity who has tried to cling to relevance by coming out as an obnoxious, blowhard conservative, because Dean Cain, who starred as a made-for-TV Superman back in the 90s, joined ICE because I guess since the new Superman is pro-immigrant, the old Superman wanted to prove that Superman can still be an immigrant-hating piece of shit too. But for whatever reason, he went on Piers Morgan's show to talk about his latest virtue signal with ICE, and Piers Morgan, for some reason, even though he's aligned with this man ideologically, decided to play a clip of him being roasted by John Oliver. And if you ever doubted the efficacy of the bully MAGA strategy, this is your proof that it works. Because as he watches John Oliver prey on his biggest insecurity, his irrelevance, you can almost see his soul get crushed in real time. Watch his face very closely.
On the plus side, no need for that guy to wear a mask because the chances of anyone recognizing him are fucking zero. You know, there's an old saying in Hollywood, if all you can get is Dean Cain, you are fucked. Now, I'm not saying that ICE isn't finding people. I'm just saying, when you are reduced to pinning a badge on the 59-year-old star of the dog who saved Christmas, the dog who saved Christmas Vacation, the dog who saved the holidays, the dog who saved Halloween, the dog who saved Easter, and the dog who saved summer, maybe you are in trouble.
Your response, first of all, to John Oliver's attack.
Why does John Oliver hate dogs? So I did a lot of dog movies. Yeah, I've done over 200 movies. I've done tons of films and thousands of hours of television. John Oliver is making a point, I guess, that I'm 59 years old and I've joined ICE, but it has nothing to do with, go ahead and denigrate my career, which is weird. It's an odd thing to do. But what I'm doing is I'm standing up.
I've got to say, that was absolutely amazing. And I rarely give Piers Morgan credit for anything because he doesn't deserve it. But Piers Morgan, good job, my friend, showing a side-by-side of a guest's reaction and someone relentlessly shitting on them and then asking for their response right away. That is dirty, but it's a rare Pierce W, and he deserves credit for that. I'm sorry. Now, as you saw, Dean Cain had no idea how to respond, so he just tried to defend himself, which made him look even more pathetic, because if you starred in so many more movies than any of us thought, why haven't we heard of any of them? You're kind of proving John Oliver's point. But as you saw, John Oliver cut straight through to his core insecurity, and you could tell how badly it hurt him. And when you take into account the things that I've talked about in this video, you know, as well as South Park's ruthless attacks on Trump, Kristi Noem, and Charlie Kirk, followed by their responses to that, which is them either seething or coping. Like Charlie Kirk is pretending that he loves it and he's so honored by it. And either he's lying or he doesn't understand that they're shitting on him and he's too stupid to get that. But like, you can see in a nutshell, we've found MAGA's kryptonite in this video. You simply have to bully them back, be as vicious to them as they've been to you. Like, the only way to deal with the bully is to bully them back. You know, there's a mission in Mario 64, I'm dating myself, called Bully the Bully. You get a star for doing it. Well, same applies here. Bully the bully and you get a star in life, I guess. But when you give them a taste of their own medicine, they simply cannot take it. And I'll be honest, I don't want to stoop to their level and be a shitty person, but they've pushed the rest of us so fucking far that we can't help but punch back. We have to. It feels like we're obligated to do it at this point. And to be clear, I think a lot of people, myself included, tried to give them grace and be the bigger person in hopes that we can maybe bring some of them back to reality one day. But after this last election, it was clear to many of us that they're just too far gone. There's no coming back for so many of them, hence why the gloves came off. It's evident that some of these people simply cannot be rehabilitated, nor do we want them to come back to polite society if they refuse to atone. Like, if you've done so much damage and you want to be welcomed back to the family and, you know, repair the bridges you've burned, you can't just apologize. Like, you have to actually atone for your sins. You have to actively work to undo the damage that you caused if you ever want people to associate with you again. And again, these narcissists don't understand that. They can't understand how they hurt people they love. And I'm not going to pretend like being mean to MAGA is some grand strategy, because it's not at all. A lot of us are just really fucking pissed off and petty, and the only satisfaction we get from living in this dystopian hellscape that they created is knowing that we're able to at least dish back a fraction of the bullshit that these fascist fucking cunts served to us over the past 10 years.
When you acting like a